And those of you that have listened to Andy in the past know how big of a baseball fan this man is. But unfortunately, at the time of this recording, which we are recording on a early Sunday morning, July 6th, 2025, the Cleveland Guardians have lost nine in a row. They have lost three of their last four games, I believe, been one-run games. They can't hit whatsoever. And I know you're pissed off. I'm pissed off. When the baseball team sucks in town, Andy, summer sucks.
Yeah, there's nothing else for us to watch right now. And it's been a tough month of June. The start to July is not what we wanted at all. And I think the team has just done a bad job of giving the fans anything to cheer for. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, they can't hit at all,
No, they
period.
can't. Yeah, the most important, I mean, I grew up playing baseball. I remember talking to people, and everyone's always like, when they're looking at prospects, the biggest, anybody can field a ground ball, anybody can throw a baseball, but the only thing that really matters when you're evaluating prospects is can you hit a baseball? And I don't know what the problem is in the Guardians organization. It feels like this happens every so often where they just can't find a group of nine guys that can swing the bat effectively day in and day out. I mean, of course, we have Jose and we have Quan, but even Quan's been struggling bad, and Jose was in a little slump. It's like a bug that's gone around the entire locker room and affected everybody, but the bug stays in Cleveland and hasn't traveled to Columbus because those guys are swinging the hell out of the bat.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I've there's been sort of this sentiment, and it's not necessarily with the Guardians, it's more this baseball sort of belief now that like AAA pitching is not at the level, or it used to always be like a little bit below the major league level, but now it's like worse than it's ever been. Either that or the MLB pitching has just gotten better, and the separation now is larger than it's ever been. And there's sort of this new thing around baseball where it's like AAA is not the same anymore as what it used to be, and it really doesn't prepare players as much for the majors as it used to.
Yeah, I mean, which is weird to hear because we know as Guardians fans, Cleveland fans, their farm system for pitching has been a wheelhouse, since the Tito days. He had our farm system down in Columbus. We've always had a great rotation of pitchers as far as I can remember. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we've had, Kluber come through the building, Carrasco come through the building, Salazar, that 2016 pitching staff was ridiculous. Bauer was fantastic when he was in Cleveland. We're not going to
Yeah.
get into him, but Bibby's been good. Bieber's fantastic. Um, but it's weird because you're right. There has been this issue in AAA where the pitching looks great down there, and then they get to the majors, and it hasn't translated, I guess, or the pitching. I don't know. I don't know what it
Not
is.
only that, but it's the hitting. I mean, you look at a guy like John Kenzie Noel. I mean, we were joking a couple of weeks ago. He looks like Babe Ruth down there in AAA, and he
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
hit a
yeah, yeah.
spitball up here.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's very odd. I mean, the pitching, it's just I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the evolution of pitches. I don't know,
I,
but
is it
very,
the way they're being coached down there? Maybe because they're shorter ballparks, they don't need as much power on the ball, like to hit
perhaps, I
home
mean,
runs. I don't know.
look at the A's and the Rays. Look where they're playing and look how well they're doing. I mean, the
Yeah,
A's took a monumental turn this year, and they're playing over in Sacramento in a little league field,
yeah.
and Tampa Bay's playing in the Yankees little league field, and the I don't know, man. It's been so tough this year to watch because I think what over this 9 game losing streak we've scored maybe 8 runs, and
To yeah.
it was
It
across
was
like
like two
four
games.
innings, but it was in like 4 innings out of the last like 60.
I mean, the St. Louis game killed me because we were up 6-0 or 6-1, whatever it was in that game. Then we give the lead up. It's like the one game our offense actually came through. And at
Yeah,
that point, you're thinking, because usually in baseball, let's face it, every team goes through this. I mean, the Yankees went through a freaking couple week stretch where they couldn't hit a baseball. But
yeah,
it's like, usually You go through these stretches of a week to 10 days, and you'll win games, you lose games, you're hot, you're cold, you can hit, you can't hit. But then, like, everything evens out. I think that's the problem right now with this team is it just doesn't feel like anything's even out. And
Yeah.
the other thing is, and I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but I do think the bad vibes for this season, at least in my opinion, and I've had baseball people tell me I'm wrong, and you can tell me if I'm wrong because I'm more than happy to hear it. But I did not like the move to trade away Naylor. And it's not, and I get it, the offensive production, all that. I get he hasn't been that great in Arizona. I totally understand it from a baseball perspective. My point was, as great as Jose has been, he's not that one guy that you need in a baseball clubhouse to fire up the troops. I mean, Naylor was the guy who would literally bang his baseball bat on his helmet. He played baseball with fire, and I think he was one of the real leaders in that clubhouse. And I don't think we have that spark that he would have brought, regardless of what his offensive production was going to be.
Yeah, I mean last year I remember there was a ton of buzz about Austin Hedges too. He was a spark in the dugout, even though the dude played like 6 games last year.
Yeah,
He was always on camera. Everybody loved him. I remember people saying throughout the season, Austin Hedges is a national treasure. We can't get rid of him. You go and look at, I mean, you had the Josh Naylor incident rocking the baby. That fires up a team. You have, like you said, Josh Naylor smacking his bat against his helmet. He definitely was a spark. You just said he's not doing that great in Arizona. He's hitting 302 right now. He has the
is he?
ninth highest batting average in the league.
Okay, because
He's
I know he
tied.
was in a slump there for a little while, so he
He
just got
was.
hot again.
He was. So he was, and currently he's tied for 18th in the MLB with 56 RBIs. So he's top 20 in RBIs, top 10 in average. I mean, he's a guy that would make a tremendous difference right now because I mean, Vogt said it the other night too. He said we're not getting guys on base. I think they had 9 hits. Maybe
Well,
it was
that's what it
last
is.
night
It's
they had
not even
nine.
the hits. I mean, you know this. I was at the game against St. Louis on Sunday, which was an absolute bloodbath by the Cardinals. But
Yeah,
like, it
I
wasn't
texted
like we
you.
didn't have opportunities to get on base. I mean, we do. We take our walks. We get on base a lot. We can't hit with runners in scoring position to save our life.
Yeah, what was it last night? Rocchio started off the seventh or eighth inning with a leadoff
Yeah,
double, 9-hole hitter, and then you don't score him when you have Quan and Ramirez coming up behind him. How does that
yeah.
make sense?
And here's the other thing, and it's a small little detail, and I get it. Most teams don't do it anymore. I understand it. The analytics are against it, but we do not do the small things well. We don't
No.
hit the ground ball over to third base to move the runner over. We don't bunt. Like if you're in a slump, like I get it. Obviously, you're not gonna bunt Jose Ramirez. It's stupid. But like even Quan, I know they're like, oh, you don't want to put the bat in his hand. Well, he's struggling so much right now. To me, they're not playing him. Lay it down past the third baseline. You're gonna get on base anyway. That's what it's about, moving the runner over and getting on base at that point. You're not scoring any runs regardless.
There was a game we won either 2 or 3 weeks ago where it was an extra inning winner, and we started out with the guy on second base.
Yeah, and Fry laid down a perfect bunt.
Fry laid down a perfect bunt
That was
and got
our
on.
last win. Do you know that? I looked that up
Yeah,
this morning.
and he got on, and I remember going on Twitter and seeing someone say, why do you bunt Fry to move the runner when you have Jose coming up after him? And I remember thinking to myself, I said, it doesn't matter who's coming up in the line. I mean, it does a little bit, but it's like in that specific situation, they played the game perfectly. They did the little thing right. They sacrificed a hitter, and it worked out because in baseball, if things work out, if you play the game the way it's intended to be played, things will work out in your favor. And I think the biggest problem is our guys are not going up with an approach. They're going up trying to hit the ball. They're not trying to do anything specific. When you go up and you try and do something specific and put the ball in play, you have to make the defense get you out. We have fast guys on our team. Angel Martinez is fast. Brian Rocchio is not slow. Jose is fast. Quan's fast. Nolan Jones is a big, strong, fast guy. And I mean, it's baseball, bro. It's a game of failure. It's a game of errors. You have to make people get you out. Lazy fly balls aren't going to do that. Lazy ground balls, can of corn double plays aren't going to do that. Dude, I watched two games like the last 2 days, and I see who did I see? Bo Naylor get thrown out trying to steal second base the other day.
Yeah.
Why are we doing? Why is Bo Naylor stealing? Why is Bo Naylor stealing? He's a catcher. He's a triple A level catcher, and he's trying to steal second base. Last night, Rocchio got thrown out on a ball that Quan squared around to try and bunt, and it's like it's the little things, man. And we talked about it after the end of last season, where I think I made a comment. Vogt got severely outcoached in the Yankees series,
Yeah.
right? He got outcoached, and I still don't think he's recovered from that because he's getting outcoached every day. He's putting together these lineups that seemingly make no sense. How do you expect to develop guys when they're coming to Cleveland ready to play baseball and they sit 4 out of 7 nights a week?
Yeah.
Baseball is about rhythm.
No,
It's about timing.
and the other thing is, like, it's not just vote. I think managers do this all the time. I think it's more of an analytical thing, right? Because Tito used to do this all the time. It used to
Dude,
drive people
forget the
nuts.
analytics. I don't care about analytics right now. I care
The
about winning a ball
their
game. The
their
analytics,
biggest thing with analytics now, I've never seen it more of like the righty lefty matchups. If it's like, oh, if it's a lefty starter, he can't play, or if it's a righty on righty and the guy can't hit righties, oh, he can't play.
then it's
Like,
foolish.
yeah, and so that's why, like, so you kind of went to my next question. I was going to ask you, number one is how much do you blame on vote? I know obviously a lot of people are calling for his head. I'm not one of those people. But there obviously the cry is starting to be out there. And then number two, like, obviously I'm saying forget this season, move on, get your young guys up here and see. But in terms of selling, like, are we going to sell off a Carlos Santana? Would you sell off an Emmanuel Clase? Would you sell off a Wayne Thomas? And, get some of these young guys more at bats so they could play consistently every day.
All right. One more comment on the analytics. Most famous baseball movie of all time, arguably Moneyball. Yes. Analytic movie.
Yeah.
Analytics movie talking about how the Oakland Athletics went and got this kid from Harvard, I think. You know who that kid was. You know who his real name is, right?
No, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I've never seen Moneyball.
Moneyball is Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill. Brad Pitt's playing Billy Bean. Jonah Hill is playing a character who is Paul DiPotesta. You know that name.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Paul DiPotesta is Jonah Hill's character in Moneyball.
I
And
did
what
not
of
know that.
what of the Cleveland Browns? What game have they been playing for the last 25 years of misery? They've been playing
Analytics.
the analytics game.
Yep.
At a certain point, there is analytics does hold weight, right? It does make sense. Baseball is a game of statistics, right? It's a game of probability, it's a game of statistics, it's a game of repetition, it's a game of numbers. But at a certain point, man, you just got to fight to scrap together wins. In some instances, the analytics lie. It's not a true system, right? Because if it was, then the Guardian, the Guardians would have a front office full of Harvard and Stanford grads. We'd win every game because these guys would crunch the numbers. But at the end of the day, dude, it's baseball, right? It's a game about failing. It's a game about beating the numbers. Um, and I'm just tired of the whole. I'm tired of going out there and not knowing who the two-hole hitter is going to be every night, not knowing who's going to be playing right field, not knowing who's going to be playing second base or shortstop. I'm just tired of like the most valuable thing to a player is repetition and seeing pitches. Carlos Santana is one of the most walked players in the MLB, but that's because the dude's been playing for 20 years. He's seen thousands and thousands and thousands of pitching. He knows how to judge pitching. He knows how to judge an arm slot. He knows how to judge spin. You don't get that in your first 2 years of playing in the major leagues, which brings me to your next point. What do we want to do in terms of selling off? What do we want to do in terms of the prospects? I think it's about time for the tribe to start calling up some of these guys. I'm tired of waiting. I text you every single day
You
when
do.
DeLauder hits his
Every morning. First thing I do
every
when I wake up.
every day DeLauder hits either a double or a home run down in Columbus, and you got to ask the question, Why is he not in Cleveland yet? And Antonetti gave his cookie cutter response. Well, we want to make sure he can play 5 or 6 games in a row before we bring him up. Antonetti, you haven't played a single guy 5 days in a row this entire season. Maybe Jose, maybe Quan, but everybody else. I mean, dude, Manzardo went through that stretch that 1 month where he played 2 times a week.
Yeah,
And so, what do we need DeLauder to play 5 times a week for? You don't run the team that way. It makes
that's a good
no
point. No, I
sense.
agree with you.
It makes no sense. I don't get it. Why? I think the play is you have a lot of guys that are older that are clogging up rotations. Santana isn't going to win us a world. I almost said Super Bowl. Santana
So
isn't going to win us a World Series. Lane Thomas was incredibly valuable last year in the postseason, but is he a guy who we're going to extend and make a cornerstone of our team? Probably not. Definitely not. I mean, who else? I mean, Brian Rocchio, Gabriel Arias. I mean, they haven't established themselves. Yes, Rocchio had a decent postseason. He hit well. He hit well against the Yankees. He made a ton of errors that cost us at least one, maybe two
yes,
games.
yes.
But I mean, you have this clog in the system right now where you have guys that you owe things to. You paid money for Thomas. You owe things to Santana. But you have a lot of guys who are foaming at the mouth in Columbus to come up. They've shown you that they have deserved the spot to be in the starting roster in Cleveland. And I think I just don't know. I don't know what the holdup is. I think the injury thing for DeLauder is a cop out. I don't know why they don't want to bring him up. Do they not want to bring him up and ruin him like they did to a couple of our other prospects? I don't know. But at this point, you're 4 games out of the wild card, which is not far off. And what do we need in Cleveland to spark this team into winning? I don't know what it is. I don't know if you need a Jose. What was his name? The guy that he fought 2 years ago
Oh,
on the White Sox.
Anderson, Tim Anderson.
Yeah, Tim, you need a Jose Tim Anderson situation that gets the team fired up. I mean, Naylor was that guy, right? Getting the guys fired up every
Yeah.
morning. Like you said, you lost him. So what do you need? I mean, a lot of the times you bring these young guys up and they'll fire up a team. That first hit for DeLauder is going to make that clubhouse erupt. The first home run for DeLauder is going to make that clubhouse erupt. And hitting in baseball is so disgustingly contagious. We've
Here's
seen it happen.
here's the other thing that I think that they're waiting on. Tell me if I'm wrong, but is there a sense of belief that like Bieber coming back is just gonna calm everybody down? That like the
No.
rotation can finally get back to normal because Bieber, maybe not this year, but I think the hope is like next year he's back to being Bieber.
Our June, our June numbers for our pitching staff were fantastic. I mean, we can go through right now. Yesterday gave up 1 run. The day before gave up 2 runs. The day before gave up 1 run. The day before gave up 5 runs. The day before gave up 5 runs. They're not the pitching staff's not playing poorly. I mean, it's like the pitching staff is good. Well, you just lost Luis Ortiz for betting
For
on
for
spike
yeah,
balls, but
I'm sorry. He's done. I don't care what anybody says. I think the evidence, in my opinion, is pretty clear. I don't think he's ever going to be pitching in Major League Baseball again. I'm just going to throw that out there.
yeah.
Um,
But it's like I don't think our pitching is the problem, man. I don't think Bieber's not the solution either. He's not Jesus Christ coming down to earth to save this team. Sure, he might give us an extra win a week, but it's like the problem that they have to figure out is this hitting issue. And today might be the day. Who knows? Because it's very true. All it takes
well,
is one
Scooble's on the
day.
mound for the Tigers today, so we'll see.
Well, you saw
Um,
you saw what we did to Scooble in that elimination
yeah,
game.
you,
That could be the
you know,
spark.
I'm just gonna throw something out there. I wanted to say this at the beginning, and we got into it, so I kind of lost track of the question, but. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, so maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But how much was the impact of losing Chris Valenka to Cincinnati? Is that a bigger impact than maybe we all thought it would be?
It was the hitting coach that Tito took with him.
Yeah,
I mean, look at it. Look at the numbers. Clearly it made some impact.
yeah.
Hitting is a very fine game, and I think if you lose the guy that makes it all work, then you really could set yourself up for failure. I mean, I'm going to transition to the Browns again. Look what happened when we lost our O line coach last year. What was his
Yes,
name? Callahan?
Callahan.
Yeah, look what happened when we lost Callahan. The O line was ranked number one in the league for like 3 or 4 years straight. Yeah, our guys are getting old, but you lose Callahan, and sometimes that makes all the difference. Um, but clearly, there's not a hitting issue in the bottom half of the organization. Columbus, like you said, Noel goes down there and he looks like David Ortiz.
Yeah.
The Lauder's down there, he looks like Derek Jeter. Kafis is down there, he's hitting the shit out of the ball. You have all these guys go back down to Columbus, and you see, and maybe it's the pitching thing that you were talking about, where the pitching level down there, it's like, you know, you come to the MLB, you see the greatest pitching in the world, you go back down, and it's like you're hitting balls off tees. But I don't know, dude. It's just obviously losing the hitting coach has clearly made an impact. The hitting last year was good. It wasn't great, but it was timely and it was lucky.
Yes, and they
A
made
lot of
contact. Thing is, they made contact. These guys now, oh my God, it drives me crazy. I'm sitting down in my basement watching these games, fastball right on the plate. They're staring at it.
Yeah, was that Manzardo last night
Yes,
that I was watching?
staring at it.
Two fastballs right down the middle, and you hear the announcers, "Oh, well, I guess he was expecting a curveball there." And it's like from day one, when you're 12 years old, when kids start throwing fastballs, the thing that they're telling you is, all right, two strikes, fastball adjust, right? Be ready for the fastball, and if it's off speed, you got to, take a longer load, hold your bat up, swing the ball, try and drive it to the other side of the field.
So before we move on to our next sport, you're a big baseball guy. I'm gonna ask you just a broad national baseball question.
Go ahead.
Um, you know, any surprises this year, good or bad? Like obviously Detroit, I think is a major, well, not even a major surprise. I won't even say that because I expected them to at least compete for the division this year. But like any big takeaways from the week, like overall this year?
Well, I don't think Detroit's a surprise. We've seen them creeping up. They were good last year. We saw them in the playoffs. They took us to 5 games, and it took a miracle against Skubal for us to advance to the next series. In terms of the biggest surprises, I mentioned the Athletics. They have had a decent season for being the Oakland Athletics. They have a lot of young guys that are coming up that look fantastic. It seems like some of their prospects might be starting to pay off. I think the biggest thing that was a huge talking point earlier in the season was the fall of the Baltimore Orioles.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to them. I don't know what happened in their clubhouse, but they did get bit by the injury bug. But I mean, they were a team that was destined to be great for the next 10 years.
I picked them to win the World Series at the start of last year.
Yeah. I mean, they've completely fallen off the rails. They have a ton of young guys who are supposed to be fantastic. Jackson Holiday, Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson. Those are 3 guys that easily could have been top 10 players in the league if you were talking about them a couple years ago, but have totally fallen off. Um, I think the Dodgers are obviously still a powerhouse. I think they're still the team to beat in the league. I don't think there's anybody that's coming close to them. I mean, looking at the numbers now, it looks like they have, 6 more wins than the next. No, no, no. They're tied for the best record in the MLB with the Tigers, which is crazy. Um, yeah, actually, that could be a point to say. How are the Dodgers not, in the 700 win percentages right now? They're sitting at 56 and 34, 622 win
Well, they
percentage.
they went for that would have been a stretch of May where again they went a couple of weeks where they lost a bunch of games.
Yeah, and they also have Snell on the IL. He'll be coming
Yeah,
back
they
probably
always
after the
had
break.
pitching injuries. We find pitching factories. They find guys to get pitchers injured. I don't
Yeah,
get it.
but they also have 4 guys in their starting rotation that any given year could be a Cy Young
Yeah,
candidate. So
and then they have a legit all-star lineup, and now Otani's coming back in pitching. We'll see with Otani. I know I have my reservations about him pitching. I don't know. I think he's gonna get hurt at some point again.
yeah,
I don't think it's. I've said it from the beginning. I never disliked Otani. I
Yeah,
never, whatever. I just said I don't think it's smart. I think he's going to get hurt again, and I think the Dodgers need him in that lineup because I think he is the difference in why they are a World Series champion.
of course. He's one of the most consistent hitters in the league, and not only consistent, but power as well. I mean, we saw it last year. He was the best hitter in the world.
Here's the thing. If he was the closer, I'd be all for it. If you could find a
Yeah,
way to make it happen. At the
yeah,
National League still had the pitcher, spot, which, I used to be all for the universal DH, and now I'm starting to miss pitchers batting a little bit. Like, I,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you look at the Guardians. It's like we have a pitcher up to bat every single time. You miss pitchers hitting the lineup. Just watch a Guardians game.
Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.